If you're looking to take your game to the next level, you might be considering a club tracking or GPS system for the course. There's a bunch of different models to pick from, and in this video I'm going to be comparing the Game Golf Pro system to the Arccos Caddie Smart Sensors. So what we're talking about in this video here are what the Game Golf Pro system actually does, what the Arccos Smart Sensors do, which one's going to be better and why. So we have tested out a few different products from both of these companies, and so we have a pretty good idea on the benefits and drawbacks of each, but we also tried to find the cheapest place to pick them up, and we will be mentioning that as well. But before we get started, I will just mention our gear giveaway. If you want to enter in, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment giveaway down below. Do those three things to be automatically entered. So let's start off by talking about the Game Golf Pro system. So this here is a sensor that screws into each of your clubs, and it's going to track how far you hit each of your clubs, and then it's also going to act as a GPS and tell you how far you hit each of your shots, and then how far away you are from like greens, hazards, water, all that kind of stuff. So the main difference between the Game Golf Live, which is their older model, and the Pro, which is their newer model, is that you don't have to tag your club before each of your shot. When you do use the Live, you need to touch the sensor in your club to the little clip that you put on your belt before you hit each shot. It's a bit of a hassle, but it does become a habit after a couple of rounds. But that's kind of the main difference between them. But what exactly does this system do? The main reason someone would want a system like this is to track how far they hit each of their clubs. So it's going to automatically record that data so you can easily see, and you don't have to think about it every time. So if you're 150 yards out, it's going to tell you the exact club you should be using. But knowing how far you hit each of your clubs, it's super helpful on the course, because I'm sure you've had that shot where you thought was just absolutely bang on, but it actually ended up being like 20 yards short or long. Pretty frustrating. It happens quite often, but that's kind of the thing that you need a system like this to do, or you need to write it down and know for sure how far you do hit each of your clubs. The next thing this device is going to do is going to tell you how far away things are on the course. So before you tee off, you're going to be able to see how far away bunkers are or how far away water is. So you can pick the right club. It's going to tell you how far the green is, and you're probably going to quickly figure out what club to hit. But overall, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Pro sensors. I thought they were a bit too expensive for how they performed. The software was a little bit glitchy, and the sensors didn't have the best battery life. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, I would go with the Arccos Caddie in my opinion. But if you are set on getting something from Game Golf, then I would stick with the Game Golf Live system, which is much cheaper. It's their previous model. It's not as good as the Arccos, but it is much cheaper, and I think it's still worth the money. But let's jump over to the Arccos Caddie Smart Sensors. So these sensors do pretty much the same thing, but I think they're much higher quality, and they're also a little bit cheaper. I originally got their older system, which was the Arccos 360, which was great, but I recently upgraded and have no regrets at all. Both systems are awesome, and they have a clean interface and they have a great battery life. At the time of writing this, the Game Golf system is around $200 more than the Arccos sensors. That's quite a bit in my opinion, and I don't really see any improvement at all. They both track how far you hit each of your clubs, and they both tell you how far away things are on the course, like hazards, greens, water, that kind of thing. There really isn't any difference with the club tracking feature. They both track each club and are very similar in terms of accuracy. Other than that, the difference was pretty noticeable. So the first thing I liked better about the Arccos system was the user interface. The software was designed in partnership with Microsoft, and I'm pretty sure they know a thing or two about software, so they're going to make a good product, but it's much cleaner to use and it doesn't glitch nearly as much. This is something that can be improved, so there is still that for Game Golf. They can improve it going into the future, and I do hope they do. But the next thing was the battery life. I don't know if it was a faulty device or whatever, but some of my Game Golf sensors, they stopped working after about 4 months, and that's the battery. The battery needed to be replaced, that kind of thing. I've had both systems from Arccos Caddie. They lasted well over 3 years. That's a pretty big difference, and something that definitely should be improved from Game Golf's point of view. But the final thing was the accuracy of the GPS. There wasn't a huge difference between them, but I found the Arccos sensors to be a little bit more accurate. It was only a few yards on average of a difference, but that could be a big deal for some people. But overall, the sensors from Arccos Caddy are higher quality, perform better, and are cheaper. Those three things are enough for me to recommend the Arccos system over the Game Golf system any day of the week. I've used a few products from Arccos Caddy and really haven't had any issues at all with them. I'm not saying Game Golf has bad products, but I do think they have some work to do. The software can always be improved, but I do think their product should be a bit better considering the price, just because it is more expensive. But if you do want something from them, then I would go with the Game Golf Live sensors, which are cheaper. I think they are actually under $100, and they are, like I said before, they're not quite as good, but they're more, you get more value for the money in my opinion. Arccos Caddy actually, they do have what they call smart grips as well, and those are they're the exact same thing as the sensors are, but the sensors are built into the grips, so you just have to replace your grips. They're a little bit cheaper, but they do come with a yearly fee, so that's always, if you want to go that route, you can always do that. But if you would like to see more images or reviews of any of these products or pick them up for the lowest price available, click the link in the description down below. At the time of making this video, that was the cheapest place I could find them, so you can go ahead and check out the current price if you want. And if you do have any questions about them, just simply leave a comment down below. I will get back to you as soon as I can. And if you haven't already watched and commented on our latest video, click the video card to the left and get yourself another entry into our golf giveaway.